Leon Campbell joining us this afternoon. I guess it's both afternoon and in your time, Leon, and in our time, since you're out in California. And as we were thinking about this retreat, and we've been thinking about retreats in general, we were really inspired, or we've continued to be inspired by the work of Agape International Spiritual Center out in Los Angeles. And so even though I didn't know you, Leon, until, about a month ago, just it's been such a blessing to connect with you, and it's been so inspiring to see all the work that you've done for 16 years. I think that's right, with Agape International Spiritual Center, which has a huge program for youth and families. And so just really looking forward to your sharing with us all about the work that you do and the calling that you feel, and just even our conversation, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, got my energy moving and spirit moving. So just so excited to have you here, and thank you for being here, Reverend Dr. Leon Campbell, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you so much, Matt. I'm encouraged by what you're doing, and I am catching the vision of what you have there in your community. I'm just so excited that, like you said, like you sang just a few minutes ago, I still believe and still have faith. And it's interesting because many times people let their experiences, they let the conditions, they let what's happening in the world affect their belief or their faith, etc. But you're not that person. And there are many people who are coming forth say, I still believe, I still have faith. And so I want to thank you for what you're doing in the community. I spoke earlier about I used to live in Natick, and I used to live in Framingham when I worked in corporate America. And so I'm excited about being with your community and being here. One of the reasons why in my dream state, a family reunion came to me is because I want to get back to who we are. I want to get back to reminding people that we are not alone. In spite of this pandemic, there's still hope, there's still faith, there's still things that we can do. And I know we're getting close to the holidays, and family is important. And so I wanted to step into a conversation that invites us to continue to draw close to one another. One of the things that this pandemic has done is it has proven, beyond the shadow of a doubt, it has proven that we're all connected, and that we are connected to that little girl in Calcutta. We are connected to that little boy in Madagascar, or those teenagers in Detroit, Michigan. We're connected to that couple in Germany. And so I just wanted to just reiterate that and began to say that even though we're going through a pandemic, we don't have to resort to being spectators either. And that there's still something we can do right where we sit. Who we are matters. And I'm going to talk about that in depth. Who we are matters to every grain of sand, to every blade of grass, to the very air that we breathe. Who you are, your thoughts, your actions, your words, your stimulation, and your touch. We're going to talk about that too. Your touch is extremely important. And so I just wanted to say that I just want to remind everybody of who we are, and to remind everybody that you are not alone, that we're all one. And so I wanted to continue to remind everybody, like all the great mystics have done, and that we're here to serve. During my research, if you really research the word family, it means to serve. It means to be a servant. And so we're here to serve this eco family that we have, or this eco community. Who we are within this ecosystem of family is to serve one another. I'm here for you, my brother. I'm here for you, my sister. What can I do? How can I serve today? Who needs my love? And it takes us into the awareness of how important each of us are, that you matter. And so before I go off into sermon mode, of course, I want to warn you all that I am a New Thought Southern preacher via the way of Chicago. But let us turn within for prayer and know that we sit here by divine appointment, that there have been no mistakes in the bunch. There's no serendipitous events. You matter. You have been strategically placed. And so I'm so grateful for the awareness that God is all there is, and that one with God is a majority. That we're not deceived, we're not fooled. This power, this presence, this love enfolds and engulfs us all. And that when we rise up and allow this power and presence to so take over our lives, everything is restored. As I said, a resounding assembly takes place, and you begin to look around and see that you have been summoned. You begin to see that people have been inspired and engaged by you and encouraged by you, and support comes in from everywhere. You are protected, you're provided. Oh, how wonderful it is to know that we live in a friendly universe. There have been no mistakes. There have been no one and nothing against us. There's only the one. There's only the one. And truly all is well. In spite of the appearance, in spite of the conditions, and we pull away from the surface just for a moment, and we turn within, and we begin to see through the mind's eye. We begin to see that all is well. Oh, how wonderful it is to be a part of this time, this retreat, this time in our own history. A turning point, a change is taking place. Winds of change are blowing all over this world. Yes, the prophecy is true, and it is this, that we are all one. I'm grateful for this and so much more as we bless all those who are a part of this conversation, part of this call, part of this retreat, a part of this family reunion. I give thanks. I give thanks for Matt and everything that he's doing in this powerful, powerful community. Yes, all is well, and we do give thanks, and we say together, and so it is. Amen. And so I want to take a moment now and give homage to our hands. You know, I'm going to be talking a lot about these powerful images, these powerful symbols that we have called our hands. And before I begin, I want to give homage to some hands that have taken care of me and that have loved me for most of my life. And I want to give thanks to all those who have gone before us, who have done the heavy lifting to bring us to this point. I want to acknowledge my grandmother, whose hands loved and provided for me for many, many years. And I want to give homage to her through this song, and it's called Grandma's Hands. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Grandma's hands clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played the tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She said, Leon, don't you run so fast. Might fall on a piece of glass. Maybe snakes there in that grass, grandma's hands. Grandma's hands soothe the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache sometimes and swell. Grandma's hands used to lift her face and tell her, she said, baby, grandma understands that you really love that man. Put yourself in Jesus' hands, grandma's hands. Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Grandma's hands, boy, they really came in handy. She said, Manny, don't you whip that boy. What you wanna spank him for? He didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have grandma anymore. If I get to heaven, I'll look for grandma's hands. Grandma's hands. Grandma's hands. Grandma's hands. There's something about our hands that to me signifies just how powerful and amazing we are. I want to welcome everybody, and I to this family reunion. This pandemic that we're experiencing has brought me closer, not far away. I mean, it pains me not to be able to hug and kiss, because you know I'm a minister. That's my life. I can't wait to hug and embrace people, but I've found other ways that I can begin to express my love. And one of the things that I do now, as much as I can, I prepare food and I go shopping and I go out and I feed the homeless. Oh, what a treat. What a treat. What a treat. And to begin to just share at levels that I've never been able to share. Sending notes. So one of the things I have my children do in the classes, I have them write love notes to the senior members of their community. And I have them give the note to their parents, and the parents would tape the note on the door. And these love notes would just talk about how vital you are. It bothers me when people send a message that our seniors, our elderly, are collateral damage during this period, or you know, or you are expendable because you probably have these conditions. I could care less. But I have the children write notes to our assisted living homes, and we have them delivered. And it's notes about how vital you are, how loved you are, how crucial, how important it is that you are in our lives. And so we find other ways. And so I wanted to call this a family reunion, especially when I learned that family means servant. And we are all members of one family. And those who hang on to separation and division and all that stuff, they're finding out that it's going to be very difficult for you, because we are one with God. We're one with everything. And there is no separation. Separation breeds worry and fear and doubt. It breeds greed. There's no reason to hammer and cling and collect when everything is yours in the very beginning. Everything has been yours always. So there's no need to claim and hoard and separate. And so we are one. And so I wanted to do this family reunion so we would get together and come together and begin to see, yes, you are different on the outside, but I have not been deceived. I have not been deceived. And so this virtual retreat is going to explore our God-given uniqueness. I'm going to talk about uniqueness a lot. And I think about not only our uniqueness, but our magnificence. I think about when you read in the Christian scriptures how the psalmist was sitting, I would imagine this psalmist was sitting on the side of a mountain saying and speaking to God. This psalmist cried out, "What is man that thou art mindful of him?" In other words, he was saying, he looked around at the magnificent, at the greatness. He looked around and saw all this magnificent, and he said, "Who are we that you would create that? Which you would create something so magnificent and wonderful?" I think about our brother Emerson, who said it this way a little differently. But Emerson said, "Man," and I'm going to add woman, and not that, I mean, that was the way they wrote at the time, but man, woman, if you just knew who you were. No moon, no sun, no star could hold you. Nothing could stop you if you would just know who you are. And so part of my mission as a artist, as a minister, is to go around reminding us all of how magnificent, how wonderful, how marvelous we are. And the tools that we possess, which is part of what we're talking about, our uniqueness. Our design was custom made. We have this ability to simulate and affect our environment. Our design is strategic. We were created to play a vital, essential role in the universal puzzle. One of my favorite movies every year, and I look forward to it this year, is It's a Wonderful Life with Jimmy Stewart. And I remember, how at the beginning in scene one where he was standing there on the bridge about to jump off, wanting to commit suicide, and this angel came and convinced him to take a walk with him. And I want you to see what life would be like without you. And it was so eye-opening. And it's the same thing with all of us. We were made strategically. Who you are matters to every grain of sand, every blade of grass, to the very air that we breathe. We matter in a way that not only heals. I always remind the children that you were the greatest medicine ever created. We were created in a way that heals. We sustain the planet. We sustain the planet. We were created to course correct, if that's what you want to say, support and provide all of life. And I want to share with you a poem that I was so excited to create about 4 days ago. And it's a poem that's called Touch. And I just thought about how magnificent is the human touch. So let me just go over to it right now. And it's called Touch. And it goes like this. Let me just also share my sound. Hope everybody can hear me before this. I'm just going to share my sound. And it goes like this. Just want to go back and make sure that everybody can see the poem. All right. So let me just bring it up a bit. All right, here we go. Sorry. All right, touch. Your touch is sent from above, a gift and symbol of God's love. Your touch goes beyond the human embrace. You represent a presence of power in God's face. Your touch goes deeper than the eyes can see. It heals, sustains, and sets us free. Oh, there's power in those hands. They were designed to do things that only you can. Your touch is one for all time. It was created to uplift and inspire all of mankind. Your touch is endowed with more than just flesh and bones. It pierces the consciousness and reveals the unknown. Oh, there's power in those hands. Could it be God's touch flowing through every woman and man? So I invite you to go out and play tag with everyone you meet and let the world know that they already have what they seek. And so I was inspired by that because I knew beyond the shadow of a doubt, I knew that we possessed something far more than just flesh and bones. I knew that we were here not to just go to school, get a job, get a house, get married, pay taxes, and die. I knew that there was something more to us. And when you begin to express your unique touch, things change. When we get away from trying to imitate and duplicate, we begin to hear our own unique voice. And I'll talk more about that. But everything is essential. Everything is essential. I was reading a story about these scientists who created a biosphere in Arizona. I mean, a perfect biosphere with nutrient-rich soil, clean water, perfect light, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, a perfect biosphere. But then they noticed after a few years that the trees were starting to crumble. The trees were not lasting. The trees would begin to give away and break off. And they thought and they thought and they thought, and they was wondering what could possibly be missing in this biosphere. And one of the most important things that they were missing was there was no wind. In other words, there needs to be wind in our environment, because that helps the bark, the very bark of the tree. That also helps the tree to begin to send their roots deep when the winds and the waves come along. It helps the tree to sway. I always remember as a child watching during a hurricane, photos and a news image of the palm trees that would just sway back and forth during these traumatic hurricanes and tornadoes. And so the wind is vital in our environment, in our system, our ecosystem, so to speak. And so I started to think about COVID-19. And I started to invite people to allow COVID-19 to be your wind, that you might send your roots deep, that you might turn within and begin to stand like the trees. You know, because some trees live thousands of years. Let these challenges, let this agitation, let this friction be, let your challenges be the wind, which is vital for your growth and your maturation. Let this be your wind. And so our basic oneness confirms and validates our unique importance. When you express your uniqueness, I believe a heightened awareness and expansion takes place in our world. And expansion takes place every time you express your unique gifts and talents. And I invite you to venture into this endless possibilities. And I invite you to begin to travel into unknown territory. See, there's no more time, no more uh, need to be comfortable. Especially when you are aware that God is all there is. And I'm not saying be irresponsible. All I'm saying to you is that we must begin to be like Captain Kirk and to go where no man or woman have gone before. And I'm saying not necessarily in outside ventures, but to begin to turn within and begin to explore, to begin to commune, begin to knock on the door of the unknown. Unknown territory is that untapped region of your consciousness. You begin to explore new insights and abilities and latent power. As a singer, my life changed when I stopped trying to imitate other singers. My life changed when I tapped into that unique new voice. I remember when I was recording my first music album, and I hired the best people, two of the top songwriters, musicians in Los Angeles. And when we sat down for a meeting, I said, these are the type of songs I want to do. And they looked at me and one of them said, and you're going to write them. I never wrote songs before. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I'm a singer. I don't know about how to write a song. And they said, you're going to learn. And it was the most traumatic experience I've ever ventured into, because I got the opportunity to discover a part of myself that I wasn't aware of. And I got a chance to discover something about myself that began to galvanize and gather people from all over, because your unique voice, for most of us, is rare, it's unusual, and it becomes an attracting force. I begin to stimulate this environment. And so I'm looking at my time. What I would like to do right now is I want to share an exercise that I want us to do really quickly. And let's see, let's get it up for a second. Let's get this. And it's a hand exercise that I want you to participate in. All right, let's see if that's it. All right, and so let me go back so I can make sure everybody can see this. All right, and so what I want you to do is I want you to take an 8x10 sheet of paper, a white paper, preferably with no rules or line paper, and I want you to trace your hand. And within each finger, I want you to write and answer the following questions. I want you to, within each finger, I want you to write 5 things, or 1 of 5, okay? In each hand, in each finger, I want you to write things that you're going to do to make a difference in your life, your family, your community, or your world. You can just take one area. Where are you going to make a difference? Where would you like to make a difference? Or you can ask the question, name 5 gifts or talents that you have. And then I want you, or you can name 5 things that you can give yourself to, give to your family, give to yourself, give to the world. And on the back of the sheet, I want you to write an example of each gift in your life. The gift of what gift you have, example of each difference that you can make, or the giving. And you can also create more than one hand illustration to include all these questions. But in essence of time, I'm going to ask you just answer one of the questions. and then you can answer the other questions later on in your week. And then also those of you who have your family participating, I want you to take the same 8x10 sheet of paper. And within this, these are for those who are young, 6 to 17. Within each finger, write and answer the following question. I want you to list 5 things that you want to do with these hands. Those are for you 6 to 17-year-olds. Adults can do it too if you want, but there's 5 things that you want to do with these hands. And then those for my babies, I want you to just allow them to express their hands. One thing I love about our children, they're such discoverers, and the hands normally go into the mouth. That's how they discover and braille the world, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to allow them to trace their feet and their hands, and then have them paint or color in their hands and their feet. If you have finger paint, it would be good. It would be great for them, and they can have fun with that. All right. And then these are the supplies. I should have gave you the supplies up front, but some of you already have the supplies. All right. And then finally, I want you to take a moment of silence. When you are complete, say a prayer and write an affirmation in the palm of your hands. Now I'm going to leave these instructions up, but we're going to say a prayer. And I want you to take a look at your hands before you do the exercise. I want you to begin to look at these beautiful gifts, these beautiful specimens. And I want you to recognize that you are the only one with this. They tell me there's 8 billion of us on the planet, and you're the only one with this print. And when I ask the children, why is this evidence in our hands? Why is this uniqueness in our hands? The first thing they say to me, or the young ones at least, I get a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old would stand up and say, that's because Rev Leon, we have something to give. And I want to add to that. And if you don't give it, it will never be given. So I want you to begin to respect this gift that you've been given. And I want you to respect that your touch makes a difference in our eco family. Your touch makes a difference. And so I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to bring it brighter, but I just want to take a moment while you do this. We're just going to take about 10 minutes and then we'll go back to sharing. Okay, so let me just take a moment and I'll bring that back to the screen. But while you do that, let's just take a moment and just it'll take 10 minutes.
Into your hands I commit my spirit. Into your hands I commit my soul. Into your hands I surrender. Into your hands, oh Lord. I don't know what the divine plan is. I can't make sense of what I can't see. Yet I know that it's in order beyond my wildest dreams. Into your hands I commit my spirit. I commit my spirit. Into your hands commit my soul into your hands. I surrender to your hands. Oh, your hands, oh Lord. Serenity is not the absence of life going on around me. It's the stillness I find at any moment, and the truth that sets me free. Into your hands, into your hands, I commit my spirit, my spirit into your hands. I commit my soul to your hands. Commit my soul into your hands. Into your hands. I surrender to your hands. Into your hands. Oh Lord. Into your hands, oh Lord, into your hands, oh Lord, into your hands. I commit my spirit, I commit my soul into your hands. I surrender, I surrender. I got to surrender into your hands, oh Lord, my Lord, into your hands, oh Lord, into your hands, oh sweet Lord, use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll.
Okay. All right. So let's just take a moment now. I'll go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's just take a moment now and finish up. For those of you who are not done, I'm going to ask you to take a moment and finish up. And then I want to take a few of those, at least 3 that would like to share. You're going to share at least 1 or 2 the things that you wrote in your fingers. And we're going to do a moment of silence at the very end of this. We're going to say a prayer. And I want you to write an affirmation in the palm of your hands. Not hope, not someday, but as if these things that you wrote, I want you to write them as if these things that you wrote are an actual thing that's happening now, that are taking place right now, not a hope. I love when the master teacher Jesus said, pray believing that you already have so that you can receive, so that you might receive, okay? All right, so let's, Matt, if you can open it up. And when I say, if those who would like to share, if you can hit your reaction button and raise your hand so we can begin to share. We can share from the hand exercise.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Beautiful. So would anybody like to share first? And you just want us to share 1 or 2 fingers?
Yes, 1 or 2, but because the essence of time, the time got away from me. You know, I got that, I had that Baptist minister thing going on, and after a while, you know what I mean? No criticism on Baptist ministers, but that was going on, Matt. I just want you to know. Okay, so if anybody would like to share, and share from your hand exercise, and we'll go from there.
So feel free to unmute yourself, or if you prefer to write in the chat, whichever feels better.
Yes,
Like to share first.
If you would like to hit the reaction button, raise your hand or something, and Matt will let you in. I just wanted to also continue to honor everybody. I want to honor your time, but I also want to just begin to encourage you to encourage your uniqueness. If you, on your job, in your family, wherever you are, I want you to tap into your uniqueness. If you are a supervisor, manager, or owner of a business, one of the keys to stand out in any industry or in life in general is to encourage the uniqueness of your people, starting with you. In other words, to begin to step out of there and utilize your unique ideas, recognizing that first and foremost, that we are transparencies. We are transparencies. And so what we're doing is we're using God's uniqueness. We're using God's touch to begin to shine. And your shine, your uniqueness will go to the next level, because as we live in a world that duplication is rampant, imitation is rampant. And so I'm going to ask you to encourage the oneness. Anyone would like to share?
I'll start off to break the ice, and then somebody else will go. So yeah, I put both meditation and contemplative practice, and teaching and inspiration were 2 of my fingers.
So give me an example. Give me an example, Matt, of what that looks like into your world.
Yeah, so for meditation, I think both teaching that at Agape, at Brandeis, in Waltham, even in the larger church, because often the larger church isn't well-resourced in meditation. And for inspiration, I think offering, at first it's tuning in to spirit, and then offering that in different settings, whether it's Agape on retreats or the wider church, at Brandeis, in my multiple ministries, yeah, just trying to share whatever inspiration I felt, as you said, when I go within to tap into that divine source.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so, Matt, when you think about all of this, because the other thing I want to uh, bring to mind and to catch a vision of your uniqueness, uh, when they finally dust for your fingerprint, Matt, everywhere you've been, what do you want them to see, Matt? What do you want to leave behind when they dust for your fingerprint? And that's not saying a transition, but that's just saying, even in your office right now, in your home, what do you, when they come in and they dust for you and they say, Matt's been here, what do you want them to feel? What do you want them to see, Matt?
Is only love, only love. Not just not like, oh, I love ice cream, I love this movie, but agape love, unconditional love, tapping into um, that divine love that we receive from Source and that we share with others. That's if I could leave one thing, that would definitely be it.
Beautiful. And so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to move in because we got 10 minutes. I want to move into the final part of this. And I just want us to take a brief moment to let me just get I just want us to take a brief moment, take a breath, and to know that this is just not an exercise of having something to do, but you sit here by divine appointment. You have been called, you have been gathered. It's game time. That's what I like to say to my male buddies. It's game time now. Rehearsal is over for you because you're sitting here. And so it's time for us to begin to release and to let go. And to know that your touch, as I said in the poem, your touch is so much more than flesh and bone, so much more than embrace. Your touch is so much more. And so I'm going to let's take a moment of silence and let's just place our hands together and let's just say a prayer. I'm going to give you a moment. I want you to just say a prayer about these precious symbols that you hold, this precious instrument that you hold. And know that all things matter. And so we've come a long way in terms of there's nothing in vain. Your journey was not a mistake. And so I'm going to ask you, just like we recently completed this election, I'm going to ask you, do not call the election before all the votes are in. All the votes are not in on you. For you to go judging yourself and judging your past. All the votes have not been counted on you. So I want you to say a prayer. And I want you to write an affirmation in the palm of your hands. On the paper. You can write it in your physical hands if you want to. But I want you to write an affirmation that represents those 5 areas that you would like to inaugurate or participate in. Write an affirmation in the palm of your hands. And so, Matt, it's going to be up to you to state your affirmation once you write it, because everybody else is kind of shy, but that's okay. Matt, will this recording be available to those who write you or request it?
Yeah, it'll be not only on my Facebook page, but I'll post it on YouTube as well. So I'll send you that link.
Beautiful. And then everybody will get a chance to continue their work in the weeks to come.
Yes.
And so, Matt, whenever you're ready, I want
All
you
right.
to say your affirmation that you wrote in the palm of your hands.
My life is an act of service, helping others touch the divine within through spiritual practice, through community, and by making a difference.
Wow. Wow. Let's just take a breath. And I want you to state that again, Matt. I'm sorry. I want you to state that again, Matt.
My life is an act of service, helping others touch the divine within in spiritual practice, through community, and by making a difference.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I did have some things I wanted to just state, and I'll state them briefly. And then I want to open it up just for a few questions or so, if that's okay, Matt. Okay?
Yes, yes, of course.
Okay, beautiful. I just want to say that this reunion or gathering, when it takes place, you are restored with an awareness of your complete wholeness in God. In other words, all the resources rush to confirm you. I remember when I started to sing from that unique voice, oh my God, I got letters and emails from everywhere. Reverend Leon, we want you to sing this. We want you to sing that. It wasn't anything, I could sing, Mary Had a Little Lamb, but people were floored because I began to discover my unique voice and I started to share it. You lack nothing. I want to say that. You lack nothing. That's why it's vital that you participate in the universal conversation. That's vital that you participate in the universal living that we have. Your uniqueness can help you usher in a more confident living. Your uniqueness changes everything because God first touched you. God's touch draws out the greatness in you, and everything you touch resonates with power. And so I want to just open it up now, just for there's a few questions out there. Let's do that. And I want to thank you all for your touch in this retreat.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Reverend Leon. So grateful. And yeah, I would open it up to any questions you have for Leon, whether about his presentation or about retreats, youth, family, anything that is on your heart and mind. So feel free to either unmute yourself or type it in the chat. Well, since we have a shy group, unless I'm not saying first, I'll ask you one, Leon. How do you approach, especially with youth and families in our culture that's so focused on those things you mentioned earlier of get the house, get the car, get this and that. How do you help them to focus in and tune in on their God-given uniqueness and expressing that in the world?
Well, first of all, you've got to be an example of it. And when I say it's not mandatory, but begin to show the advantages, the benefits of their own uniqueness. A lot of people think that there's nothing different, there's nothing new, there's nothing unique about me. And that's based on comparison. People cringe when they hear Reverend Michael say you're perfect. They cringe. But you are perfect as you, Matt. There's no one like you. You are perfect as you. I have the children stand up and say their name and they say, I am perfect as me. And when you look at this unique masterpiece that was created, you begin to see no one can do it like you. I mean, there's no exact duplication anywhere. I don't care how people try to fight for it, but there's no duplicate snowflake, no duplicate grain of sand, no duplicate leaf. And so we're all created within this eco family, unique and very substantive and very, in other words, who you are stimulates everything. Because just like I said, even in this biosphere that we call life, everything is important. The wind, the rain, even though even the pandemic, it's all vital, all vital, all vital. Count it all joy. Count it all joy. Anything else is a separation and a detriment to your growth and development. So yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
How would you how do you continue to incorporate children more into the service? I think that we're doing a good job here at Agape, but as they get older, what do you do to keep them like interested? Is there an approach that you use or like a philosophy that you have?
Well, one of the things I do, I try to make sure that I give a whole brain presentation. In other words, there's a little bit of audio, but there's also a visual component. In other words, as you can see, I brought my Boston area fall scene with me. You got to make sure but you also got to make sure that there's a kinesthetic component, that people are doing through learning. They're experiencing it through learning. So you got to make sure it's a whole brain presentation, and you got to make sure you meet them where they are. You got to also recognize in this brand of spirituality, it's important that you're not trying to beat them over their head or teach them, but you're providing an atmosphere where they begin to catch what you're saying. They're very perceptive and very intuitive. So it needs to be a whole brain presentation, but also you can create this container that is so loving. See, kids don't care about your credentials and your resume. They don't care about where you've been. But what they really care about is, do you love me? Are you going to be here tomorrow? Can I count on you? That's what's foremost in their brains. And so if you can do it from that area, you'll have much more success than those who are trying to teach them. When I say teach them, sometimes to their own detriment, especially when they're trying, I got to get you to understand this. No, you don't. Provide the atmosphere. It's like the old saying, I cannot, your who you are speaks so loud till I cannot hear what you say. That's how you teach children. You don't have to be perfect. Don't hear me say being perfect. But you start by loving them and letting them know how important they are. And that was my goal on this presentation. To be able to open their hands and say, you are vital to all the earth. Without you, the puzzle is not complete. I can go on, but
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great question, Tara. Is there a last final question, or otherwise we can end it? I want to honor our time, but I also want to give anybody who has a final question a chance to ask if you do have one.
Either I've done my job well, Matt, or they're all asleep.
Maybe I'll ask a final question, Leon. Could you say a word about retreats and what retreats mean in your community, both with Agape and for families and and for kids?
To me, that means to turn away, and I don't have a strict definition, but to turn away from business as usual, to give people breathing time. Just like during this election, it was as if a pipe bursted because there was so much tension, there was so much agitation, so much frustration. The pipe had to burst. So that's what a retreat is. It's a retreating from business as usual. Even in our spiritual circles, it's important that we have a retreat to begin to do things differently. And it goes back to my urging you to be unique. But I'm going to ask you to retreat from business as usual. And I see that you're willing to do that, Matt. I can see that you're willing to do that. Church doesn't have to look like, when I say church doesn't, and that's why you hear people say spiritual community now, but church doesn't have to look like the church of our fathers. No criticism of our fathers, because they helped usher us into this level. They were essential, and I never want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But it's essential that we begin to look at our own uniqueness and begin to present that to the world in a whole different way. Because the principles will remain the same. Let me say that, Matt. God does not change, but we must begin to be able to present it in a way that is heard by the generations to come, that they can begin to hear it. and you're not neglecting them. And I think that's one of the reasons, that's one of the problems with our world now. One side feels that they're not being heard. So we must take that in consideration when we build this new world, or when we build this new heaven and new earth. We must be inclusive.
Well, that's a great place to end on, Reverend Leon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've given us so much food for thought, and as we continue our journey as an Agape, we're obviously not only spiritually connected, but hopefully we'll continue to stay connected. And if you're ever in the Boston Waltham area, we hope you'll come join us. And
yes, all I'm waiting for is an invitation, Matt. You don't have to. That's all I'm waiting for. You know what I mean? And guess what? Every time I'm going to say yes to you, sir. Okay. So Matt, if you get a chance a little later, can we just have a brief conversation?
Of course.
So I can keep this as a what do they call it?